And Niclas Füllkrug has passed his West Ham medical. Or perhaps he's passed 2 West Ham medicals. It's been quite funny, actually, because I think there's been a lot of secrecy, as I mentioned, over the last few days of a West Ham signing. So a lot of the in-the-knows are scrambling for additional information. So I think it started off by saying, well, Somerville's had his medical. That's not me farting, that is the table. Somerville's had his West Ham medical, and then someone else said, well, actually, he's had 2 medicals. So they're really getting involved in the fine detail now to get that sort of one-upsmanship. I don't know. Basically, I think both players either had 2 or 1 medicals. I don't care. They've been passed. So Niclas Füllkrug, or the Hulkrug, as we like to call him. I like to call him. He's passed the medical, going to sign today, going to do all the stuff, going to do the media stuff, and he's already done it, apparently, a lot of it. He's done all that. He's had all the bubbles. I wonder, are they genuine bubbles or CGI bubbles? I don't trust any of this stuff. Unless I can pop it with my finger, I don't trust any of this stuff. But anyway, he's going to be doing all that media good stuff, so we should, hopefully, today being Monday, see it by today. They might drag it out until Tuesday. We might see it Wednesday. Sound like a Craig David song, didn't it? But anyway, there we go. Very, very soon, we should see more of that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I want to talk about the impact it's having on John Duran, or certainly that deal, what proved to be a miscited gamble, some might say, from Aston Villa. I want to talk about Vladimir Coufal, if you don't mind. I've got so much respect for the guy. I didn't want to put it as a thumbnail and like do... I'm not going to say anything particularly promising about his future, I think, under Lopetegui, so we'll talk about that as well. But before I do, I've got a really odd disclaimer to make. Every so often I have to do a disclaimer. Now, sometimes they normally... Me and Gio often used to do them, so we'd say on the review for a match, you would say whatever, somebody had a crap game, or, you know, and then somebody would always say, well, hold on a second, I think we've been quite good this season. So we'd have to do a disclaimer and say, look, all we're doing now is we're just reviewing the game. So those are quite normal disclaimers. I've got a really weird one to do now. I want to make the point that Jimmy Somerville and Jimmy Savile are different people. I never thought I'd ever say that. There you go. The reason I'm actually having to say that is because I started calling Crescencio Somerville Jimmy Somerville because of the pop star, right? The singer, excellent singer, by the way. Somebody seems to have got a little bit upset. Well, more than one person got a little bit upset and think I'm doing like a Jimmy Savile thing. It's not. They're different people. One of them's a really talented singer who's done nothing wrong, and the other one isn't. So there you go. I'm not trying to be offensive at all, and that's it really. Anyway, Duran. The Duran one's a funny one because I mentioned this the other day. £37 million was the package that we offered. Now you can dissect that how you want, but basically it probably would have been that, there you go, there's 30 million, and then if we qualify for Europe, there's another 3. If he scores 50 goals for the club, there's another 2. You get the idea. It was basically a £37 million package, of which we will never know what the add-ons were, but that sort of thing, right? I don't think anyone else was offering £37 million for Jhon Duran. Not because I think he's crap, but just because, look at the market now. It's changed. It's changing before our very eyes. There was so much change, in fact, last season with PSR. It felt like it had changed overnight in many respects. You suddenly had all these clubs being punished and docked points in a way that, I don't know, nobody gave a crap about all that stuff, FFP, and yeah, it used to get mentioned for reasoning not to sign X, Y, and Z player, but by and large, you didn't see clubs getting their bottom smacked over it. Now you really have, and I think what's happened is it's all being really, really heavily regulated and implemented. So there's just not that many big transfer deals around anymore. And I just don't see tons of clubs out there who are going to go and spend basically 35, 40 million pound on an unproven player. For that money, you want the proven player. I'm not suggesting you're getting the world star for that, right? But you do want a proven player. And I think Aston Villa was so cocksure that what West Ham were going to do was come back, because I think that was our third bid, possibly the £37 million one. I thought Aston Villa were quite cocksure and thought, you know what, we're going to come back, and they'll come back and they'll pay us the 40, and that'll be done. And I don't know, look, I've been out of the loop for the past couple of days, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've been following every transfer that every other club's done. But as far as my news was in terms of Aston Villa news over the last couple of days, they were looking to sign João Felix. They wanted to sign somebody else as well, and the money from John Duran was going to help pay for that. They've had a bit of a spend up, haven't they? Let's be fair, already this summer. And I now think they've got a player on their hands who obviously agitated, who wanted to leave. I think they were offered a fair price by West Ham. He started giving it all out on his Instagram, didn't he? And they said they were going to bring him back and fine him. I'm not sure how they're going to reintegrate him into the squad. And I think it's not really our concern, but I do find it quite an interesting situation that they've got themselves into there. I think, look, I have a certain level of sympathy for Villa. I think if it was West Ham and it was a player doing... I don't know what the Aston Villa one is. I don't know what is the Aston Villa. Have they got something? My mate Alan Abbott once said, like, West Ham do that. What do the Gunners do? I don't know how many other people are doing that stuff. The Seagulls? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. Magpies is the same one, isn't it? Bees. You get the idea. Anyway, so I think if another player, a West Ham player, had sat there and said, I want to join Newcastle and started doing that, I'll be annoyed, certainly. But so I've got some sympathy for Aston Villa, it has to be said. But I do think they put themselves in a little bit of a pickle with it, really. So anyway, it turns out we weren't playing games, were we? We weren't doing a ruse. I thought we were doing a ruse. I fell for it. Don't worry about that. I was with Aston Villa. I thought, West Ham, they'll be back. They're just using this Hulk rug. They're using him. Well, it appears not. I mean, that would be really bad, wouldn't it, if we got him over here for a medical, got him to do all the stuff, strip down to your underpants, stick all that stuff all over you, run on the treadmill, do all the stuff. Actually, do you know what? We're going to get that John Duran instead, because he did that. But so look, it was genuine negotiation, and I think you need a bit of that. In whatever you're negotiating, in whatever business, you have to, sometimes if you're going to call someone's bluff, you have to do it. And I think if you're going to threaten to walk away, you have to be prepared to walk away. So, yeah, look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, I can't pretend otherwise. You guys have seen me on a video 5-6 days ago saying, this isn't a guy I would have tried to go and sign. He's got no sell-on value and so on and so forth. That being said, the deal's done now. Welcome. And let's be fair, if we're going to do this, but we've also bought young players as well, which we have, then great, fine. And I don't even mind old Guido Rodriguez. I don't mind it. Look, free transfer. He's 31, but free transfer, what's the problem? No problem at all is the answer. So you're going to bring in people like Luis Guilherme and younger players, Crescencio Somerville, Jimmy. If you're going to bring these players in, then, you're bringing young players in as well. Absolutely fine. Don't have a problem with it. But yeah, just find it, a bit funny with Aston Villa. And, I mean, the other thing I really wanted to talk about as well was off the back of the friendly game against Crystal Palace, which you'd be very proud of me. I managed up until the 82nd minute before I nodded off. And I do know that there will be a whole load of you that won't blame me for that at all. I actually thought, I've read some of the reports, I've listened to Gio's video, I've read some other bits and pieces and listened to some other stuff. I thought we were all right in the first half. I thought I saw enough, particularly given that we only had four players who would start under Lopetegui. All things being equal, I think the starting lineup against Crystal Palace, only four players that would start against Aston Villa. So I wasn't too fussed. Look, yeah, okay, the defending, particularly the Kilman bit, wasn't great and so on and so forth. Not amazing, but I thought there were some quite nice passages of play. And I've thought this ever since I saw us play the first game against Ferencváros. The moment you take James Ward-Prowse out of there and you put someone creative in there, I think the whole system changes. Well, the system doesn't change, the system just works, basically, because you have someone who can really knit everything together and play some really, really clever passes. So I'm not too worried. One thing that was clear to me, though, was that Soufal just can't do it. He can't do what Lopetegui's going to want him to do. That much is clear. I mean, you may look at it and think differently, and I didn't want to, as I said, I didn't want to do the video and put whatever Soufal is finished over, on the front of a video, a picture of him like that. He deserves better than that because he's a good guy. He's been a great servant to West Ham, and he may well continue to be so for the remainder of this year and the remainder of his contract. And I think he's got an awful lot to offer, but you really notice it when he's being pressed and when we were trying to pass the ball quickly. Of course, Soufal's been pressed on many occasions. It's not like he's just only going to get pressed under Lopetegui. There were times West Ham were pressed, but he would have that ball would be out, down the line, a long ball down the line, over the top to Jarrod Bowen. Often inaccurate. Let's be fair, but it didn't matter. It was out. As an out ball, it allowed it. There's a new one. It allowed the defence to reset, didn't it? No, it's just not. That is clearly discouraged. Clearly, there are some long balls permitted from like centre backs and from people wider switch of play, but not that ball down the line. That's certainly not allowed. The aimless, hopeful hoof. Let's call it that. Down the line, no. So he's being encouraged to pass it quickly. Possibly even first one touch, pass second touch. Okay, maybe second touch, but hopefully on the first touch. Pass it neatly, pass it accurately to a teammate, and then move into space yourself. And he can't do it. And look, there's going to be no big surprise to anybody. And myself and Gio did a video end of last season. No, not end of last season. It was when we did 3 to succeed, 3 to fail under Lopetegui. Once it became clear he was going to be West Ham's next boss. So no secret. I think he was in there. Him and Souček were in there as a couple to fail. I just didn't see they would be able to do it. They very much suited what David Moyes wanted to do, not so much Lopetegui. And you can hear in his voice, you can see in his demeanour, he's not happy with what he saw. But you can also understand that because you've got this massive culture shift from the way Moyes used to play and the way the new guy wants us to play. I think it might get a bit painful sometimes until he can get all those players in place. We'll deal with the Wan-Bissaka one on a completely separate video because well, I don't think I've already wasted 12 minutes of your time. So I'll be back later on today, possibly with Wan-Bissaka, possibly with something else, hopefully with some good news that somebody else has signed. We'll take a little... they say call it a deep dive, don't they? A little deep dive into something else that might be unfolding today. We'll give that a little look. Otherwise, maybe we'll look at that Aaron Wan-Bissaka situation. I'm just mindful that as it moves along, things change and video gets old very, very quickly, doesn't it? But I think we're safe for this one. So I think Füllkrug signing today. He's signing today. Whether you get to see the pictures of him doing that and the old AI bubbles, CGI bubbles. I don't know, but very, very confident that Füllkrug will be signing for West Ham United today.